Hi everyone, niache wazee. Welcome back to the PP's Fun and Adventure. Miss B.
And Mr. B.
And what are we doing today?
Today we can talk about our experiences abroad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in today's episode, actually, we're going to share our experiences as Africans studying abroad. You know, we thank God that we had a chance to study in Europe, and like I was in Germany, was in Turkey.
Yes.
And we had our own experiences. You know, people say everybody wants to go abroad. You know, kila mtu anataka kwenda majuu, the land of green pastures, etc. So today we want to give our experiences and the challenges we faced, how we went through them, and kama unataka kwenda majuu, if you want to go like to Europe or if you want to go to Germany, what should you prepare on? Like, what are the basics? Because the experiences are very diverse. So what are the basics? So I'll start with Mr. P here. Mr. B, in 2016, when you had your scholarship to study in Turkey, what was in your mind in terms of where you were going?
Yeah, okay. I didn't really have any thinking of where I was going. I just knew naenda majuu na naenda kusoma, and I experienced the first day poa.
Why?
Unajua huku Nairobi sikuwa nimezoea like wearing these heavy clothes, so na nilienda wakati wa winter. So nilitoka tu na t-shirt na shati juu. And then nakufika Istanbul and nilipata hiyo baridi sijawahi pata, mpaka inapiga mpaka kwa mfupa. It was so cold. Yeah, so and again there was that language barrier at the airport, and flight ya kwenda Ankara iliniacha, and nobody at the airport knows how to speak English. They only speak Turkish. So up to that it was so difficult, and I didn't have enough money, and sikuwa nimeconvert pesa yangu into dollars or any other currency. Nilikuwa na pesa Kenya, so things were so difficult at the beginning. Sijui kwako ilikuwaje?
Okay, for me, I had a very responsible scholarship provider. That's one thing I must say, and I applaud the Catholic Academia Dentist, the KAD fraternity, for what they did. For one, I was not living in Kenya alone. We were a group of 5 people, 5 girls, or 5 women from East Africa. That's Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And then we used Lufthansa. We used Ethiopian Airlines. And our landing point was Frankfurt, you know. So we landed very early in the morning, but I had a very bad experience already at on the plane or at the flight, because at the time when we were landing, I think it's because of the changes in the latitudes, I had very painful ears. Yes, it was really paining. And when I left the country, I didn't buy anything at the duty shops, like you know, like a chewing gum that could help me, you know, take away that effect. So it wasn't very comfortable for me. I really hated that landing. And of course the checkout at Frankfurt was very okay, because that was our destination airport. It was very okay. And then now we have to use the train. Remember, we have been given the train tickets, and it comes with instructions on how we are supposed to do. They had given us instructions. But yes, you have been given instructions, but remember, we are a few rich people. So we are trying, you know, all of us, we are trying, you know, everybody is trying to see what can be done. Eventually we managed, and we entered the train, and this is where I was like, it is hell. You know, I had gotten used to my simple life here in Nairobi. If I want to go anywhere, I could just call a taxi, or you know, going. It wasn't a problem, and I've never traveled with a lot of mizigo. Now I have 2 bags, and all of us in that 5 people, we have 2 bags per person.
Each of you. And
then we have the extra bag. So we enter the train, and the train is normally divided into wagons. In German, they call them the wagons. They have the partitions of the train, and then we enter there. The way the seats are, if you put your bags, you have blocked the way. You know, and we cannot lift these bags, because my bag was, for example, 27 kgs. I cannot lift it and put it up there. So we are kind of, you know, already we have caused blockage and commotion. These black people in the train, you know, you can see the eyes of the people looking around you, like, you people, you have caused some bad commotion here. And then when now we are alighting in Bonn, where our head of the department was waiting for us. He waited for us at the train station now where we at Bonn, where we were supposed to alight our final destination.
Okay.
But now when we are alighting, remember the train, when it stops, it doesn't take forever. It's not like a matatu where you can say stop, I have to go down. It stops for some time, for a few minutes. Now we have to go out, and we started going out, earlier enough so that we can open the door and do what? And get out of the train. But guess what? We don't know how to open that door.
But is it not automatic?
No, that train didn't have automatic. We were supposed to press something that was sprinkling green.
Okay.
And as we waited for that door to open, it didn't open until the people outside now, they're waiting to enter. They had to switch it.
Okay.
And then it opened. And there was this mama behind us. She was very mad. She spoke some Deutsch, but at that particular time, did we know even the language?
We didn't understand. Okay.
So we went down and we were received by our scholarship providers, and they took us to where we were supposed to go for the school, and we had some coffee up there because there was like this coffee machine. Yeah, and we were shown where we were, and we were even given our money, our first stipend, cash, because we didn't even have bank accounts. And we started live in Germany. Now, when you arrived in Turkey, you've gotten lost.
Yeah,
like you've gotten lost, you don't have enough money.
Nimepotea kwanza, acha nianze kwa kupotea. Nimepotea kwanza, and then I met an African and I asked him, I'm lost. He didn't understand because maybe he's a French speaker. But then I got one of the guys, I think from Mali, I can't remember, Abdul Latif. Yeah, so tukakuwa tunaenda wote in the same direction. I remember him just saying, we are foreigners, nobody had. So we took our ticket to a police or somebody security, and then told us it has gone, like just like that, and then told us to wait. We were put in another flight that took us to Ankara. Fortunately, at Ankara now, there is where I think that man was one who could speak Swahili, English, French, and everything, was waiting for us. Then they put us in some bus, and I think after reaching Ankara, now the city center, they gave me a taxi to my hostel. There at the hostel, that's now how God speaks to people. That's how God comes through when people are in problems. There was a Kenyan in that hostel.
Wow.
And I always thank Ian on watch. That man was very instrumental, and I remember the first day I told him, please give me 200 of the currency of Turkish, 200 tele. I just went to go and buy a heavy jacket. And for us, it took us some time before we were given our money. So I used to survive on kind of, I took some loans from my friends, especially that Kenyan friend. And remember, I was staying in a hostel. So food, everything is given. And it took me let's say 2 weeks before I could start my language. So within those 2 weeks, I was able to get my money. And life was a little bit better from there.
Well, so I think the lesson for somebody is aspiring to go abroad, I think the major lesson you should learn from his experiences. When he left the country, he had not changed his money to the Turkish tele or even to a dollar.
Yeah.
I think when you are leaving Kenya and you are heading to a new country, try to find out the currency in that particular country and make sure that you have extra money, like you have enough money just in case of an eventuality. Me, I learned from his case, and when I was going to Germany, I had around 700 euros in total. Yeah. And so for me, when I was landing, money wasn't an issue. I knew that just in case of anything, I can even take a flight and return back home. So one first lesson is that whether you have a very responsible scholarship provider, you never know, you can even get lost on the way, especially if you are connecting trains, buses, all those things. Ensure that you have enough money that can be able to see you through. Another lesson that we are learning from his experience, he left the country during winter.
Yes.
you know, we say winter, summer, spring, autumn. Those seasons are real in other countries. Forget about the warm, cool climate of Kenya, where you just walk around and mvua inaanza kunyesha unakimbia hivyo and kabaridi kanaingia, but still people are wearing their t-shirts or their fresh and shine. Outside there, winter is really winter. So find out the weather situation in a country where you are going at that particular time.
That's true.
I remember for us, our scholarship provider told us they are transiting from spring to summer. So in as much as we needed like to dress warmly, it wasn't that so much. But you see, for him, he had to suffer because he moved with this Kenyan mentality of freeze and sign, only to be kupiwad na baridi paka the poles. So ensure that you have inquired about the weather situation and at least carry one heavy jacket that can be able to shield you before you even know the markets there where you can buy something.
Yeah, it's true.
Now, you are in the hostel. Before I give my experiences of settling down, how did you settle down?
Yeah, from when we were here in Kenya, I already knew the kind of hostel I was going to, and it was a government kind of a hostel, which is the best. They're usually better than the private hostels.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had already Googled and I knew how things are, and thanking God, still with my thanking God, I was in a room with a Turkish person. The Turkish people, I don't know if it will be awful to say, I think they're a little bit naive. They only know much about their countries, but they don't know much outside their country. So the Turkish government, I think, is so wise. It usually wants to mix Africans or foreigners with the Turkish so that I think they can learn things from outside. So I already had a Turkish gentleman. Nowadays it's Doctor. Doctor.
Okay.
Dr. Umut. And a Palestinian friend, and at least the Turkish man could speak a few words in English, but the guy from Palestine could speak English fluently. So I settled in very easily, and I was a little bit older than them, though looking young by appearance. So in the hostel it was so easy to settle. They showed me around. Remember, in the same hostel I had some African people. They were playing Africans versus Turkish football, and I quickly joined the African team. And actually joining from the hostel, henceforth life was so easy. Something that I like to quickly point out is that Turkey is an Islamic country, and they really practice Islam, I think, in the positive way, in a way that they really value humanity. I don't know how I can explain that, because even the university that I went, it is kind of like when you are studying in a Catholic school here, where there are some prayers and you are introduced to some prayers and some other things like those. So I was also introduced in such a system, and I used even to go to the mosque. So these issues of maybe getting problems as far as maybe discrimination or racism, that one, to be sure, I didn't face it largely. They see you as a Muslim brother regardless of your skin color, and it was so easy to settle. Though now the only maybe small issue is, as I've told you, they tend to think that in Africa maybe there are a lot of problems, and so yeah, and somebody can come genuinely asking you a question or maybe wants to help you. Like somebody can bring you food or even clothes. I used to be given nguo zenye than you, leave alone where you are given nguo zenye mtu atumi. Somebody goes to a very expensive mall or outlet like LC Waikiki and buys clothes during Ramadan and anakuletea. In that thinking that this person is from Africa where there are problems, and I'm genuinely helping a person who doesn't have, so that God can bless you. Then that mimi nilikuwa nimeelezwa kitu kama hiyo. Most of my African friends used to get it very rough, and they used to repel and feel bad. But with me nilikuwa nawaangalia naona they are genuine. So hey, wakiileta sikuwa nakataa, nasema thank you, if that is what you think and is out of good heart, then it's okay. So based on that, mimi naweza sema kwamba my life in Turkey was very smooth, comfortable. I made very many friends, and I think I usually sometimes miss the place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So for him, he had quick cultural integration right from the hostel and at the university, and he was even able to practice kind of religious integration, transiting from being a Catholic or like practicing Catholicism or Christianity and incorporating into the Muslim society. I think you did good. That's cultural intelligence. And he says he never faced discrimination because outside there we hear cases of racial discrimination. I, for my case, settling in Germany, tumefikishwa shule, tumeonyeshwa hapa ndio mtakuwa, tumefika on a Friday, I think. It was on Friday, if not on Thursday, and then Monday we are supposed to start our language course. But remember, we are also supposed to do the city registrations. They helped us book the appointment for registration at the city, and then now we also have to open bank accounts. We have to look for numbers, the German numbers for communication, and this one is nobody's going to help you do that. How did we navigate it through? We found a group of priests in Bonn. And for me, it is thumbs up for Father Fidelis Munyoiki because he really helped us. He's a Kenyan priest in Bonn. He took us and helped us and even advised us the best bank accounts to open. He took us, baby, tulikuwa tunatembeanga pamoja. Outside there, let me tell you Kenyans, outside there, they are good Africans. You know. So for us, this priest made us feel home because alitupeleka kufungua account, akatuonyesha mali tunanunua chakula ya Kiafrika. And then he also helped us kutafuta phone numbers na mali tukaregister, etc. So for that, we had a group that was living in an hotel. Unapewa hotel room but unachipikia. So mimi nilikuwa kwa hiyo category, tulikuwa unachipikia. So for me, in terms of food, the only problem is that nilikuwa na kosa mboga za like the Kenyan food hiyo nayo utamiss. The skumas that we keep making noise about, my friend, when you go outside there hata roho iko kile ya 5 bob, you will miss it. Particle this whatever too sweet situ wa Kenya, my friend. Outside there you will miss it. Right now you complain eti umekula ugali kila siku, kanyaga huko nje utamiss it. And talk about ugali. I would never forget the first ugali I ate in Germany. 4 days we had not eaten anything substantial. Hatuna language, hatuna anything. Hiyo Sunday yenye tuli meet Father Munyoiki, Father Fidelis Munyoiki, that is the same day alitupeleka kwa Father fulani Mtanzania anaitwa Father Francis Miku. Father Francis Miku si ametupikia ugali.
Ilikuwaje?
Tulikula hiyo ugali. Have you ever eaten as if like unaenda kukufa? And it was so kind. There were assorted African meals, and they really allowed us to eat so well. So by the time Monday jioni Father Fidelis anatupeleka kutuonyesha around nini, at least we had something spa, wakatuambia ni mkate gani ya kununua, etc. So in terms of settling me, I really thank the African community, the priests in Bonn walitusaidia sana. But for me, I had one major issue. Of course, the language nayo achana nayo. Uko nje hiyo language utasoma changufu. Whether you need it for your studies or not, you need that language for communication, for buying things, etc. And our language ilikuwa ina learn from Monday to Friday unless there's an whole day hapo katikati, na kutoka asubuhi mpaka saa 8. And mkifanya mtihani Friday, Monday ni class. So it was a marathon for 6 months. And one thing I can say is that language can be really depressing, especially if you don't like language things. That thing can really molest you mentally. That's the truth. And you are coming, you expect when you are entering class, like you be taught this language in a way that you understand. No, the teacher comes and start teaching you German using Germany. So I don't know how was your language experience, but for me it was a tough one until we had to form a group discussion where we could read with our friends and discuss, do assignments together, etc. I don't know what was your language experience.
For me there were 2 major culture shocks. The first one, ni mimi ni mahali pa food. Me food was a problem. Yani kama kuna kitu ilinitorosha Turkey, it's food.
Haleluya nayo.
At least wewe you were in kind of a hotel na ukaenda kwa nyumba yako, you could cook. Mimi nilikuwa kwa hostel where all the staff hapo hadi wa kuosha choo, wa kufua nguo, wa kupika the Turkish. And in that hostel kuna pia like half of maybe 3/4 of them the Turkish. So meaning we were eating the Turkish diet. Sasa hapo ndo kulikuwa na shida. No ugali, no mboga, just chicken, meat, nini kila siku, and the traditional food. Being Muslims are cool these weird things, but you could take like soup and bread, that is their major meals, and for people like us that was a problem.
Hey, talk of bread. Bread, you know, I don't really say the person who wrote that thing, you know, this God's prayer, our Father who art in heaven. There's a place where we say, give us this day our daily bread. That person was in Germany. I think Germany, they have all types of bread.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
And then the next shock was now this thing we are calling language. You know, Turkish and German is more difficult than Turkish, because Turkish was made from these, let's say French and Arabic. And Swahili also shares a lot in the Arabic. So there are a lot of words like darasa, kitab, something like those that are very similar. So for me to learn that language was easy. But now the problem is we are being taught things in that class with let me say a normal teacher. Now the culture comes when you go to study. Remember, for me as a master student, I had to take a full 1 year course in Turkish, just full year course, easy units, and then after that is when I wrote my thesis. So mimi nimejua tu za hi hizo za Turkish, hi, how are you, I'm eating, I want food. I know how I can talk on the street, but nikifika sasa class, what we call academic Turkish. And when we were in that language school, we were foreigners, Africans, watu kutoka Brazil or South America, some Europeans, and maybe people from Asia. So unapata there was such comfort because all of you are foreigners and you are learning together. Natoka hapo naingia class, we are 6 and I'm the only foreigner and I'm the only African.
Wow.
And the language is Turkish. So I remember I used to tell my friend mwenye nilikuwa nakaa naye mwe tulijaribu kuelewana, mwalimu make joke, just tickle me so that nicheke. So that
you have suffered, my friend.
Nicheke so that I don't look out of the place, because actually walimu walikuwa wanakuja and then they teach and there is nothing I'm getting out of there. And so what I did to be able to do better.
So kwa hiyo class ni wewe ulikuwa katanda. Let me tell you, ametoka Kenya is the ice cream of the village. The topmost cream, and then you made a Turkey, my friend, is the last.
Yeah, mimi sikuwa najua ati mtu anaweza kuwa mwisho. I didn't know that, but nilipofika hapo things became a little bit difficult. So I used to work double. Ningejua like hiyo course outline, ningeenda nisome in English, nisome because majority of these people nilikuwa nasoma, now they were working. But for them things are easy. Mtu angekuja tu aanze kufunza anatomy huko mbele, unashangaa kwani lecturer wangu wa IKU hakuwa anajua ama. Nani student tu anakuja achiki kitabu anaanza tu kuambia inatoka hapo inaingia hapo, inatoka hapo inaingia hapa, na mention everything. So for me to a little bit cope up with them, ilikuwa nasoma usiku yote kwa hostel.
Wow.
Kwa English. Na nimeandika notes. Hasa wakikuja kufanya vitu zao za Turkish hapa, I can follow in English. And also when I was doing like my exams, nilikuwa na request like wanipe page kubwa kuandika so that niandike in English, so that I can now translate your English into Turkish, and that's how I was able to make it.
Wow, language,
yeah.
I think from that experience what you learn, they settling down in a new country, and it takes quite some time. It's not a one thing. So when you see your relatives have left the country, or if you are leaving the country, don't think that utafika leo kesho you have entered the system.
Never.
There's a lot of culture shock. You are live there. You are an adult. Nobody will take you around all the time. If you are lucky like me, who got an African community that like we met a big brother who helped us go around, you are lucky. But trust me, those people are very few outside there who dedicate their time. Uko nje, time is really money, because people are paid per hour. So somebody will calculate taking you, is lost like 50 euros taking you around for like 3 hours. And then another thing is, so don't expect to settle immediately. Whatever problems you face, just know you are not the first one. So many people have gone through it and they have made it and they have stabilized. You have to transit. It's just a moment of shock. And then number 2, language, especially if you are going to a country whose language is not English.
Wow.
Be very much aware that you will have to face that language barrier. It doesn't mean that you are naive, you are a danda, you are foolish. No, the thing is that is not your language, and it will take you time to learn. Be ready and open-minded to learn to interact with the locals. In fact, language is easily learned when you interact with the speakers
on the streets
than that which you learn in class.
True.
If you are lucky enough, for example, you are going to a country like Germany, you can start your classes at the Goethe Institute in Nairobi. At least you get the basic A1 or A2, such that when you go there, at least you even know how to say hi and ask directions. It will help you. And then in terms of food, forget about going to get your Kenyan meals there. Just prepare yourself psychologically. There are some things that you will miss as far as the Kenyan delicacy is concerned. And be grateful when you get them. And if you get them in the supermarket, the avocado that you buy here at 20 bob, outside there, if you are going to convert the amount of money that you are going to buy that avocado, is going to be around 200, if not 300 euros.
Yes,
300,000 Kenyan shillings. So don't start converting everything to Kenyan money, because if you will be seeing something written in the supermarket, 2 euro, and then you convert it, you get it like that's like 300 Kenya shillings. You are not going to buy anything by the end of the day. Remember, you are paid in euros, so you have to spend in euros.
True. Yeah.
Don't be paid in euros and start spending in Kenyan shillings. It's not going to work that way. Now, maybe we'll share the last part of experience and we call it the first part of diaspora experience, because the experiences are very long. We will do another video about our experiences again.
Maybe the positive part.
Yes, the positive part.
Yeah.
And here I want to talk about the migrations offices before I give you the mantle to share about the experiences. When you live here, when you are in a Kenyan, you enjoy the nationality and the privileges that comes with that nationality, and even you enjoy the fact that you belong to this country, so you know the offices, you know who to call, all those things. And even when you go to an office and you are frustrated, you don't feel vulnerable. Now when you go outside there, you have to go to immigration offices, and in some countries the first migration officer you deal with is the one you will deal until you leave that particular country, in terms of renewing your permits. We have very nice immigration officers outside there, but we also have crazy immigration officers. They say in every market there is a madman. That one does not apply in Africa alone. Even outside there are those crazy immigration officers, and they will just frustrate you for nothing. So just like we can never lack a madman in a market. Yeah. In these offices, we also have those immigration officers. Yeye amekuangalia tu na skin color, akaona wewe umekuja hata kutake opportunities here in our country. Sometimes somebody looks at you and it says to give you a 6 months extension. Another one comes, you have the same everything. He's given 2 years, another one is given 3 months. They just he will just treat you the way, or she will treat you the way she wants, because after all, there's nowhere you will go. So for me, the first experience I had in the migrations office was not so good, but I thank my scholarship provider came in And you know somebody makes you feel we are here for you. That's what they did, because I went to the migrations office, and this lady, he was supposed to sign for me a document that I was supposed to present at my university for admission, and she refused. She refused and demanded for a matriculation letter. Yet that document she was supposed to sign, it is clearly written that once he signs this document, I will get the matriculation letter. Okay. But she wants me to provide a matriculation letter or a student ID, and yet I have not been admitted in the university. So it really took. My scholarship provider was very furious, and he really made a phone call there, and my issues were sorted. And again, when I was renewing my resident permit, because we got a 3 months visa, so when I was now to get my, the long-term resident permit that lasts for like 1 year and then you renew, I really waited to be given the appointment. Like today it's like my resident permit is expiring tomorrow. I have not been given an appointment date to go to the migration service. And that means if I'm found around with
deportation,
with an expired visa, my friend, deportation, police are not going to be happy with me. And it was really frustrating. It was really emotionally draining. Like, you live in fear. And for me, that is the time I felt like, why did I even come to this country? I just want to go home and live my own life. After all, I had a job. You start saying, I had a job, I was living okay. It's not like I was living outside. It's not like I lacked food. You start missing Kenya or your home country as it is. So for me, I could say the experience, my first experience at the migration service was not good. And that's one of the things that traumatized me my entire stay in Germany. Because each time I could think about going to renew my resident permit, that experience would hit. Despite the fact that the following renewals were not, I didn't have any problem at all. But each time I could look at my resident permit and realize, it's going to expire, those memories could come back. So that was my experience. I don't know whether you had an issue by the way with the migrations.
When the president of America, Barack Obama, came to Kenya, he said that when he reached the airport and he said, my name is Obama, and then the officer told him, Obama in Kisumu, and it rang in his head and said, kumbe my name has a meaning. Kenyans, you kabila yenye mnalia hapa Kenya, it is very, very important. I live in Nairobi, and whenever I meet a person, alafu ananiambia, Wasike, are you from Bungoma or Kakamega? I feel good. I wish you knew what that means when you are abroad. That sense of belonging, and when somebody calls your name and associate with where you come from, that thing when you are abroad, you don't feel like, I don't know how I can put it. Umaenda kulala kwa mtu una feel uncomfortable, mtaka turudi kwako. That ka feeling when you are abroad.
Kakitanda kako hata kama kadogo ni kadogo nikako tu.
So when you are there abroad, as she's saying, there's that feeling kwamba hapa, even there's that feeling that you might even look as if you are like you are not superior, you are uko chini kidogo ya wase wengine, and it comes naturally because wewe hapa kama uko Kenya ukishapata ID yako ndo hivyo, but huko you keep on renewing. So just on contrary with what you expect, first for us, you were to get a letter from the university which will now help you to get the permit. So like the university will see and say, you are a master's student, you need to be done by 2 years. When they write for you that, they'll just look for, are you having a place to stay, an address, do you have insurance, and do you have a scholarship? They give you 2 years, even they don't think about it because you pay. And then maybe if you are extending, you go to the university, they write for you, this person is extending for 6 months or 1 year. They will still give you another one. So for me, the immigration did not have any problem because I was in the capital city, Ankara. The Goj Idaresi was so big and we could go there. But the normal and usual, the lines and the language barrier and everything was just the problem. But these other things were very good. But as I conclude, kama uko kwenu na uko Kenya, atu wanakuita atuwasike ama boss bora ama Mwangi na utaki atunataka tu Joseph Urureva Catherine Boni. Hizi jina that have your identity, meaning that you belong, is very important. Utaenda huko nje utamani na utapata.
Anyway, I think what we're learning from this particular experience is that, unlike when you are here, ukikuwa na your ID, you are good to go. Yeah. Outside there, you have to be vigilant in terms of your resident permit when it is expiring. You have to book appointments, and the officer you get can decides actually how the process goes for you. But most of these officers are very good, but we have few cases when you wanachisikia sukari, and you cannot run away. I know even in Kenya we have employees in offices when you wanachisikia sukari sana. So we also have those type of employees outside there. Yeah. And I think also foreigners who come to this country experience the same fenye tuna feel in terms of immigrations. So ukienda huko nje usianze kutoroka because tumeambiwa sijui nini, unaanza it is normal. Fight and also always show that you know what you want and that's what you want, you know. So I think tutaachia hii hapa, then we will come on the second section where we will start from accommodation. Like for me, like yeye alipewa accommodation na government, but mimi accommodation yenye nilipewa na scholarship iliisha after 6 months. So how did I transit to my university after those 6 months of language study, and nilipata accommodation yaje, because accommodation outside there is very important. Si kama hapa mnaweza ishi sijui watu 10 hosteli moja na hata government ijui ni nani anaishi wapi. So huko nje vitu ni tofauti
when we explain it deeper.
Yes, so in our next video we are going to tell you about accommodation. Then we are also going to tell you much about the positive side ya huko nje, you know, the communities you get, you know, the fun, all those things. So stay tuned. We hope that this video has helped you or has given you some lessons, especially if you are planning to leave the country, or kama umetoka ukafika huko kapata kamaisha si kama venye ulikuwa expect. Don't give up, you are not alone. That's part of culture change. Watu walipitia wakamaliza and here they are. So from us it is a bye, and we are saying stay tuned, and we drop the next video tomorrow at exactly 12 noon. The second part of diaspora experiences with the PP's fun and adventure.